Hello, everyone. Today is different. Today, we're going to talk to you about how to overcome your sensation of just being the last minute person, and especially coming to taxes, right? So I have Kat here because she really is the person that manages the whole outreach through YouTube. And so she's like, Ying, I got so many questions here from the clients and related to the last minute filing. If we could just trunk that into a one seminar, talk about this, it will help a lot of people to understand why they're doing that, if they're doing that, what's the remedy, and how to turn yourself from procrastinator to planner. And that's really what, it's not wrong to file late or extension, right? Some people file late for a reason, and you have to file late, and you can file extension to be a planner. So we classify taxpayers on two major categories, and the normal citizen, the normal tax citizen, or the procrastinator or the planner. So all of our clients with our firm, we want to turn you into a planner instead of procrastinator, if you are one. So we're going to use this hour to turn you around. We hope to accomplish that, right, Kat?
Absolutely.
All right. Sure. So let's go through what we usually do related to our webinar. Hey, folks, you know that we have all our webinar and on YouTube after the session. So you of course can see us on the session, and you come into 3 o'clock, you see us, but just in case you don't have that time, and you use that 3 o'clock time to overcome your procrastinating sensation, then you can listen to us later in the day. So look at that. We have all of these videos coming from the webinars, and I just talked about pros and cons of filing 1040 extension. So you can get some opinions from us in terms of filing extension. Hopefully that would help you. And now this webinar in particular is Ying's advice to the last minute tax filer. And we also want to make sure that our firm, not Ying, our firm as a group, we received Torch Award for Ethics from Better Business Bureau. And that, what that means. That just give the stamp of how we are conducting our business. And we have good heart, and we're really not trying to just do tax filing, forms filling, and we're done. No, we care about your life and your business. We care about what you do. If you are a tax procrastinator, I hope you are listening because you want to know what exactly you are doing. And you also will learn from our examples how other people overcome that and how do they do better on tax side of things, right? And then we also want you to know that my name is Ying Sa. I am CEO of Community CPA. And the two things I brag about myself all the time, it is I'm actually a volunteer to this federal advisory committee called National Taxpayer Advocacy Panel. And this year, I'm actually on the notice and the correspondence team, which means that the notice is that if you want to add things and, would make it better, and you would make a recommendation to improve IRS, and that way we can submit your application, your recommendation to IRS. One of the taxpayer actually was telling me that they really want to see on the notice and the correspondence, when they receive the notice, they want to see a list, appendix, or on the bottom of it to show all the notices that related to this one. When was that sent? What the notice number that is. So this is really, I thought that was a super good recommendation. So I plan to bring that out to IRS to see whether that would be accepted. So in the future, when you receive your notice, you're going to see that, oh, I got a notice. Then you can see that how many times the IRS was trying to reach you. Maybe you moved. That's why you didn't get the notice. So that would be a really good help, right, folks? So that's what we do and voluntarily. And here, I also have a book I wrote, and I am, this year, I for sure will roll out the 10 a.m. But this one I roll out in 2019 is about how to start up a business. It is 8 a.m. You wake up in the morning. The first thing you do, you start a business. And then how you grow is on the 10 a.m. book. And I would highly recommend you to go to Audible book. It is online and you can actually listen to that if you don't have time to read. No responsibility disclaimer. I tell you, we are all humans. Who doesn't make a mistake? We make mistake and you do too. So you don't want to take a quote out of internet to become your Bibles for you to do things. You want to make sure that you consult with professionals and a customized solution to your personal situation, but don't take internet as your solution other than irs.gov and all the state websites, right? So make sure you're checking out authoritative website and not some company or some individual out there to just say things that irresponsibly, or they also don't know they're saying it wrong, then you take it wrong as well, right? All right, so let's get going, Kat. And I'm so excited to get into this part of a conversation. And so tell me what you have.
So as you mentioned, we get a lot of inquiries from different people about their taxes, right? And it's getting to the deadline. And so now people are kind of worried about it. So one of the common questions that we get is, what if I don't have all my documents? Like if somebody changed jobs, they might have done some contracting work this year that they didn't previously, and they're just not sure if they have it all. And something might be missing. What would you say to them?
Actually, this kind of situation happens more and more often. A lot of times you may be working for a company and then by the time you file taxes, the company already folded, right? So you actually don't even know whether they send out the W-2 for you or not. So you don't have any clue with that. So when that happens, folks, and I would say to you that you always wanted to make sure you get all the documents. And if you cannot get the document from the people who are supposed to issue the document, and you want to see whether you can get the document from the government, because they must file it with the government, right? So that process is actually called a data draw, and in our firm. So you need to be able to get the data from IRS to know what should be on your tax form. So my recommendation to this taxpayer to say that this taxpayer has a good reason to procrastinate, right, Kat? Because he didn't get all the tax document. But don't just procrastinate without what? Without filing extension. So you want to file extension, and then you can go after where you're supposed to get the document. If it is an individual who's supposed to give you a 1099, call them up. Say, hey, where's my 1099? And the 1099 issuance, folks, if the issuer has less than 10 1099 to issue, the timeline IRS imposed is actually not a deadline for them. And they can issue whenever they need to because they are a smaller issuer. So only when they issue more than 10, it is regulated with penalty that you have to file on time, otherwise you'll be penalized. So knowing that, it is not everybody issue 1099 on time when they are a smaller issuer. So you need to be responsible to go to ask for it so that you will get it. Does that help with that answer, Kat? You think the person who called would be like, okay, yes, I understand. Let's file extension, right?
Yes. So I think they would ask, how long does it take to get information from that data match or data draw that you mentioned?
So IRS collecting taxpayers' data, starting from let's for example, for 2022 right now, the IRS continue getting the data for 2021, starting from the end of January. So they electronically send in data they have, so they continue to collect. But by the mid-year, by the summer, most of the filing due days is already finished. So they would already got all the data that they need to get. Unless for certain circumstances, the employer, like I said, maybe they closed, they no longer filing and nobody really responsible for that. And who knows, right? So then IRS don't have it, but otherwise IRS data will be pretty complete by the end of July. And if you really want to make sure that you know everything about what IRS has on you, then you want to inquiry of that data after July. And then you will see everything that they have under your social security number or your company's EIN number. Then that will be your part of your tax document. The same thing you will do with the state. If it is state issued document, you would call up the state, right? Don't forget, our government, the IRS don't really control the state. The state don't control IRS. So tax documents are coming from what? Coming from IRS, coming from the state. So you need to deal with that separately.
Yeah, sure. So how can I tell like what documents I need? So obviously there's the W-2.
Obviously W-2. The reason you say obviously is W-2 is because obviously you know that is income, right? So the income documentation is really important because IRS want to make sure we're paying taxes, but your expense document is not always there. For example, you are a construction company and you pay gas on the gas pump. Does the IRS has that gas pump information? Yes or no? Because if you paid cash, IRS don't have it. And if you paid by credit card, if IRS inquiry of the merchant of the credit card, yes, they have it, right? So it really depends on your expense. So in majority of our expenses are not really automatically showed up on IRS database. But what shows up on IRS database are 1099, 1099B, 1099D, DIV, 1099 INT, and 1099 NEC, and W-2, and all income-related matters. So make sure if you knew you received some income and you don't know whether this person is going to be sending 1099 to IRS or not, the smart thing to do is to just ask, hey, do I have a 1099? And is this the income that you're going to issue notes to IRS? Then if they did, you better get hold of that and file that on your tax return. Okay. And see, Ying didn't say that. If it didn't, don't file. I didn't say that, right? I am just saying that you want your tax filing with IRS without event. IRS will know, oh yeah, that's what you got. That's what you report. Good job. And other things you got, even if it didn't report to IRS, you would still report, but you're just not going to have that match with IRS. IRS just know that you reported some income that they don't even know. Okay, so that's where I hope that addressed the question you have.
Yes, for sure. So if I'm supposed to be getting a K-1 from my company, should I wait then to file, or can I file before I get that?
The K-1 is like part of your income. I know some K-1 is negative. You will say, Ying, that's not my income. It's actually helped me reduce my income. But in any case, it is impact your income. So you must have the K-1 before you go forward. Okay, so if you are waiting on one K-1, I'm sorry, your whole tax return needs to be extended. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Then another common thing that I hear from people all the time is there's just like a mental block with them in terms of taxes. Like they get really stressed out, you know, they want to vomit every time they think about it.
Oh my God. Yes.
They just want to avoid it and not think about it completely. What are some advice you have to take away this fear or to get over that?
Well, I so understand. I so understand. And this is a real story. I have a client and had an appointment with me to fix 10-year worth of taxes because she does never file taxes. IRS is going after her and assessing a lot of taxes, right? So, 5 minutes before our meeting, and she goes, Ying, I just cannot come. Every time I'm stressed out, I have diarrhea. And I'm just like, I really get it. I really get it. There are people, as soon as they hear this TAX, they panic. It's almost like the IRS is grabbing them and their life is to, get to the end of it. It's just the fear, right? But people, as a human, we have fears on different things. And I may not fear taxes in my life, but I have other fears, right? So we all have those mental blockage, we call it. It's not real. The fear of IRS is totally not real. Have you heard of expression about if anything can be resolved by money is not a thing, is not a problem? You heard of rich people talking like that, right?
Yes.
And I'll tell you, there is a similar saying to not so rich people, and it works the same way. Anything that is related to IRS that can be resolved. Anything, everything. I will tell you that. And just because even if the resolution is you going into jail, it is still a resolution, but it's not going to be a resolution that you lose your life. So the fear of running for survival, not needed. And you are really just need to deal with it and see what is going on and how can I prove to IRS that it is a good intention. I'm not a foster, and it is just, I have this mental blockage and I just didn't file for 10 years. So we have seen a lot. And I have a taxpayer, and this gentleman, actually, when he came to me, and he said that he is a postal office worker, they make salary W-2. And 10 years ago, and he filed divorce. His wife divorced him. So he didn't think that he will survive. He said to me that he believed that he'll kill himself right after the divorce because he doesn't really want to live. And the reality is that he lived on and on, but he actually took out all his 401k and spent all the money in that first 3 years. And because he wasn't going to live, right? So he just used up everything he has. And then now, 7 years later, there's so much taxes accumulated. He was so burdened, and then knowing that he's not going to kill himself, but life's still going on, and he has the tax issue. So those are the things coming to life, and it's nothing to be ashamed. I really understand how people get there. So what we did is we came up and did taxes all from the beginning to the end and a scheduled installment. And by the time we finished talking, he is already a clean man. No more tax burdens. So folks, if you have that mental blockage, you're really not looking for an accountant. You're looking for a tax accountant with a human touch. And this is where when we started the firm, we never really had the intention of running the firm the way it is. We just thought we're gonna just help people here and there. But we really come from the humanity side. We didn't come from the business side. Even though our business is growing and the things are doing great, but again, and we rooted in understanding you. So don't let mental blockage hold you back. If you do have one, you don't have to talk to me, don't have to talk to Kat. You talk to the person you trust and just speak it out loud. When you speak that fear out, you already overcome 50% of it. Trust me. Only if it is in your heart and not out, then you just manifesting that fear. And then you think tax is going to kill you. No, tax is going to make you smile. You might get all the refund back. Okay, folks, if you don't file your taxes, you have a refund from 2017, you lost it, okay? You don't get it back. You only can get refund back for the last 2 years. So don't procrastinate and just do your taxes. You might just find out that you actually get money back, okay?
Yeah, that's great advice, Ying. And I think that is true that people often blow this out of proportion, right? When they think about it, because of course it's money related and that can be really stressful, but thinking about how freeing it is, right? When they get clear of it. So I think that's really a positive way to look at it. Mm-hmm. So another person says, what if I get into a bind that doesn't normally happen, like a family emergency or something, and I would normally file on time, but this time it's just a different situation. But what happens if I don't know what I owe even to do an extension?
Sure. That happens a lot during the pandemic time. You just don't know, somebody got sick. There's an easy way to deal with it. And obviously you need to file extension. The reason we file extension is not because you can postpone everything to later. It is that you save a late filing penalty. from IRS that if you owe $10,000, late federal penalty could be $1,500. Okay, so you save that charges, so you know that you legitimately can file later, but the tax due, that cannot be extended. So it has to be paid on April 15. So for that reason, what we want you to do is, if you don't know, because you didn't prepare your taxes and you just don't have you don't have the time to do it, then you at least pay what you paid last year. So let's say 2020, when you filed your taxes, you paid $5,000 federal tax due, you paid $2,000 state tax due. And then this year, when you file extension on April 18, just pay $5,000 on federal, pay $2,000 on the state, pay exactly what you paid last year. So what does that save you is to save you that portion of estimated tax penalty and the late payment penalty. So you will save a portion. If you get a refund back, then you actually don't pay any penalty, right? So just make sure you are paying what you will pay. If you know, if you don't know, you just pay what you did last year. If your last year you didn't pay anything, you actually got a refund, then you don't pay anything when you file extension. You go for last year, okay?
Okay, that's great advice. So what if I'm being audited by the IRS right now? Like, what am I going to do? Is this going to extend their audit to this year if I file? How does this work?
Of course, it's very possible. Let's say if you're going through audit right now, they're auditing you 19, they're auditing you 2020, then you filed your 2021. Why not? They can audit 3 years, right? So they will pull your 2021 over and to be audited. So in that case, what we would like the taxpayer to do is to conclude your audit and file extension for the one that you have not filed. The reason for us to advise you this way is not just because we don't want you to be audited by 2021. You're probably going to be audited later anyway because you are being audited. But what we're trying to do is to have you know what change they made in 19 and 20, because some of those changes they made may be benefiting you in 2021. For example, if they disallowed expenses in 2020, saying that that should be 2021 expense, okay, then don't you want to know that so you can reduce your 2021, right? So we want 2021, we want the new filed return to catch what was changed in the previous 2 years. So maybe you ended up paying $10,000 taxes, right? For 2020 return. Then we want you to include that in 2021 so you can get some deductions on the state return. So there's reasons why we don't want you to file taxes while you're being audited. Does that make sense, Kat?
Yes, that does. I think that clarifies it a lot. So, Ying, what if I always owe money? Like every time I do my taxes, it's just, I feel like it's an overwhelming amount and maybe it doesn't make sense to me to want to file. What would you say to someone who just thinks like the burden of taxes is just too overwhelming and can I avoid it?
Yeah, I totally get that. And there is I guess there is a different view you can take when you are kind of stuck in that corner. You just don't want to do it. And you also don't really want anybody else to do it. And you're just in the bind and thinking, what if I just don't file? I can just get away. If I don't file, government don't know me. And why would I even care to file, right? And your thinking might really be true. And in the 40s and the 30s, in the olden days when IRS just established, because IRS, this tax system is honor system. And you think you pay, you think you owe government money, so you file taxes. But if you think that you're under the threshold, you are exempted from filing. You make too little to file, then you don't file. It's absolutely allowed, right? So it is an honor system for you to file your taxes. But if you just don't file, you think the government just probably didn't realize that you're supposed to file, you didn't file. And under the honor system, they just not going to detect you. That's not so true anymore. Maybe it was true in the 30s and 40s. And not anymore. Why? Because our electronic system are so interrelated. For example, if you own a company and the K1, they issue K1, and here you sit here goes, I don't want to file my taxes. Nobody know I have this business. So you don't file. But do you realize that K1 is already registered with IRS? IRS already know that under your social security number and your name, you have this K1. IRS also know that you haven't been filing taxes for many years. All of these K1s, IRS will go in to do what they call the substitute return. Substitute return is IRS done return for you. They would not reduce any expenses. You think you have expense? Sorry, IRS just going to calculate on income you are getting. Okay, so really, there is no way you can hide from the system. The more technology is perfecting itself, the lesser room for anyone to lie and cheat. I always say that computer technology is helping to make human more regulated. And this is also on the same token is a fear, right? We're talking about democracy and what is it? You make us lose all the democracy and, I'm not going to go there, but I just tell you, the reality is the more computerized system we have, the lesser room you can say, well, I didn't receive that cash. Oh, well, I didn't really have that amount of income because not so. IRS already see it and you're already being reported by other party and you are already on their radar. So no, you have to file. If you have income, you will file. And if you feel like you don't want to do it, and think of hiring professionals. And I understand the sensation because I work with quite a few, our YouTubers. And, the reason you come to YouTuber because we promote do it yourself on YouTube, right? We give you tips and we're expecting you to not call me, okay? You're supposed to solve your problem yourself because we give you all the answers already. But I still get calls. So I would have people call me, goes, I just never paid a penny on doing taxes. I always used TurboTax, a free, there's another one, free tax, something to do my taxes. So I just don't know how to justify the value. How am I going to think that, Ying, I'm paying you $2,000 and which I do it myself? How do I justify the value? So that is very subjective. It is really a value that what you give. It is not the value that your tax preparer or the CPA firm can give you. Okay. For me, I value a lot of things. For example, I actually a person really like to clean. I like to keep things clean. Okay. But do I have time to clean my house and to go after the children and to, with this work going on, with me meeting you on YouTube, right? So I have to make a decision to farm that out. I will give to someone else to do the cleaning. And if they come back and with $200 charges, is that a valuable or not valuable? And I think that's valuable to me because that will take my thinking away from doing the cleaning and will give me room to enjoy. Enjoyment, lightheartedness, and security is not something money can buy. And if you are worried about your taxes all these years, I don't know how many cancer cells you're gathering in your own body. Really, seriously. And we really need to live lightheartedly. It doesn't matter what kind of situation you are in. And don't imagine that people who are here with you, Kat and me, you think we don't have personal issues? Of course we do. But we learn to live lightheartedly. And if we can farm things out, we let other people do. And as long as the person who provides service to you is someone you can trust. So it's not about value. And the person who actually helps our firm to clean, do you know that he has been with our firm for 25 years and never stopped, never changed? So that's value. So if he charges $5,000 a month, it doesn't matter, right? Because it is that security, it is that trust, it is that longevity of being together. And that would give you a lot more value than a value itself can give you. So I just want to say that questions like that, I don't know how to answer. So what I will tell my the person who called me, I will say that you want to find someone who you love and care and trust so much that you're no longer thinking about paying. That would be the place you're going. And I hope that you do that. And so that way you can always find peace in mind and knows that you can trust that person, that firm to get things done.
Right. Right. So is the person who might be avoiding doing taxes because they're afraid of being audited, is that the same type of situation that they should because of the data that's being gathered?
Absolutely. People afraid of being audited, that's a normal thing. Okay, everyone who files taxes would not put on the statement saying, I love to be audited, right? Nobody liked to be audited. But if it is done professionally, you know that professional work, professional firms, they have been dealing with taxes for so long, so many years with so many people. They have that accumulated experience to help you not be audited by IRS. So the common errors, the mistakes that IRS would normally look for, and the people already know how to deal with that. So this is the value. Maybe this is the thing that you, as a taxpayer, only doing your own taxes, you're not going to have it. You're not going to have experience that we reference with 10,000 other people, right? So absolutely, if you're worried about to be audited, I'll tell you the best solution is to find the firm and the person you can trust and rely on that person and trust that person will get it done.
Absolutely. And I think with that, I do have one final question, and that's kind of related to that, right? Of getting professional services. So I have waited, and it is now, almost the deadline. So I'm trying to reach out to tax preparers to do my taxes. And what if all I'm hearing is like they can't get to me, they can't do my taxes on time? What next? How do I find somebody?
Yes, and I really understand that. It is actually existed in the CPA firm industry nowadays, and you understand the pandemic had made such a huge impact on CPA firms. People think that the restaurant is impacted by the pandemic, but I'll tell you that CPA firms are the one got impacted by the pandemic, but without RRF, right? We don't really get fundings like that. And the CPA firms got impacted in the way that there's increasing amount of work that is not budgeted. For example, the PPP, the ERC, the RF, all of these work was never existed. But if you are our client, we have to do that work, because otherwise, how are you going to get the government funding, right? So all of these, it's not just our firm or other firm. CPA firm, accountant in general are burned out because there's too much work for a very short time. I wouldn't say short, it's already 2 years for a very long time, right? So we burned out. So it is really, really normal when you call the firms and, when your firm says, oh, well, we have to, we need to delay your filing. And then you call the other firm, they tell you that we don't take new clients. So that happens a lot. I hear people calling us, goes, I couldn't get a CPA firm to take me because I'm a new in town and I just don't really know where to go. They tell me that they don't take new clients. I don't blame them. And that's really what it is. But I will tell you, if you like that firm, if that firm is what you want to work with, you call them, they tell you that they don't take new clients. You tell them that I'm willing to file extension with you so you can do my taxes later. And this is where you can offer that leeways, you can offer that solution to the professional. They will feel the relief, because once you file extension, they have another 5 months to work on it. Of course, they're going to get it done, right? So it is really that understanding. And also the labor market are so strange. And, with COVID, there's a lot of turnovers, a lot of new staff, and a lot of, the workload is being so much. Then you see a lot of new names in every CPA firm. Then every CPA firm is struggle to find the new employees. It's just that roller coaster right now is running. Don't blame your CPAs and don't blame the staff at a community CPA. We really try to work that out. We try to offer you a better solution. And we also are here to make sure that it doesn't matter how busy we are, and we cannot rush your return. We refuse to do that. And I believe all other CPA firms are doing the same thing. As a CPA, we cannot rush your return just because we're busy. That is unethical. That is not the right thing to do. I would not be able to sleep if I do that to any of my clients. So you are coming to our firm, we will take good care of you. And obviously, if you are the last minute procrastinator this year, you're gonna find it's really difficult to get your taxes done. Day one you submit, day two is done. That doesn't really happen anymore. So you want to give yourself more room to work on that. And you want to know that you can file extension. Like I said, you can draft your return, know how much you might owe, and file extension, and then go forward.
Thank you, Ying. I think that was I think what you've said so far has been very helpful. And those are, the top questions that we have. So thank you for addressing them. I think this is, going to help people.
Yeah, we love you. Okay, don't think that we're just, procrastinator is such a negative term. Let's just get rid of that one. And people with a lifestyle, certain lifestyle, and I secretly tell other people that I know the biggest procrastinator in the world, and I won't tell you who that is. But in one of my webinars, I kind of said that's my hobby, and it's like he is the biggest one. So I understand procrastinating. I understand that logic, but in taxes, like I said, you cannot avoid taxes. It's not something your procrastinator will disappear, right? So it is something that you have to work on it. Instead of labeling yourself as dragger, as a procrastinator, as a last minute person, why are you turn yourself into a planner? You're not going to admit you're procrastinating. You're going to say that I am planning my taxes. I'm planning my taxes to be filed by October 15. So by just saying that, it's already get you out of the negative feelings of yourself. Gee, I'm doing that again. I'm doing that every year. Why am I doing that, right? Don't do that to yourself. And then just say that this year is a year of getting taxes done on time, and I'm going to file extension. I'll deal with that in October 15. In between, I'm going to clean up everything. I'll make my finance squeezy clean this year. And you can do that with Community CPA. You can do that with other CPA firms, because that's our profession. We deal with money. We understand how you can be efficient with your tax dollars and save your money and grow your equity. We understand that.
Thank you, Ying. I really appreciate that. So any final thoughts from you before we conclude?
Well, it's close to the due date. So if you decide to turn yourself from procrastinator to planner, just give us a call and tell us that you're willing to file extension. And then that turns your world around. And if you can find someone and making it done on time, and that is so precious, and say thank you to them, and know that they must have worked day and night for you to get that done, because everybody is loaded with a lot of work in our industry.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ying, and thank you everyone for being here. We really appreciate your time on Saturdays. So we will see you again. Ying's next webinar will be on Tuesday. So you'll see her again. Take care, everyone.
All right, Kat. Thank you, Kat, for helping me. And it's always good. We haven't really had this kind of session before. for a while now, right? We had it before, so we should be gathering information and just chat with our folks.
Yes,
All
absolutely.
right. Okay,
Okay,
see you on
everyone.
Tuesday, 3 p.m.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.